Hello and welcome to On Our Shelf. This is where we highlight a game and tell you what we like about it and why we have it in our collection. So let's get started today, Ben. What is today's game?
Today's game, as you see right next to us here, this gigantic box cover, is Tidal Blades, Heroes of the Reef, Part 1. I don't know what Part 1 means necessarily. We might touch on that later. So this game came out in 2020. It was a Kickstarter game. It is currently ranked number 950 on BGG. That's pretty high, I would say, for this game.
Sure. I don't know.
It's 1 to 4 players or 5 players if you have the Angler's Cove expansion. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Published by Druid City Games and Skybound Games. I don't know what's the same and what's the difference there. It's like Druid City's the Kickstarter, Skybound's the publisher. I don't ever...
I don't know.
Quite know that one.
No one's not going to find it because they don't know that information. Right. So
it's designed by Tim and Ben Eisner. And I thought it was worth noting this. The art and world building is done by Mr. Cuddington, which is actually a design team of 2 people.
That's weird. Okay.
Yeah. So here's I love the one-sentence description at the top of BGG for these games.
Let's hear it.
Join a tournament to become a Tidal Blade, guardian of the island realm.
That's the description?
Yeah. I thought that was pretty good.
I think it's a good one, but I would have no idea what that means still. It's great if you want to know about the world of it. It is no help if you want to know about gameplay.
I will say up front, we have the deluxe edition of this game because we kickstarted it. I'll try to touch on that in a little bit, but I don't think that necessarily affects the review too much, actually, in this case.
The difference between them?
The difference between them, yeah, exactly. So we have played Tidal Blades 3 times in the past 2 years that we've owned it. Which
sounds bad.
It's not that many.
So originally when we first got this, we tried it out with some friends, and that was like the learning game, though. You know, when you're all trying to learn, you're all trying to understand the symbols, the concepts, the whole thing. We thought it was fine, but, you know, it was the first game. Then we tried playing just the 2 of us, and with like a dummy player thing.
Yeah, there's like a 2-player module, essentially, where there's a dummy player.
We tried that, and we weren't fans. So then we put it up on the shelf, and we turned our back and pretended that we didn't own it for about 2 years.
Not necessarily. Like, I brought it to we do a little, like, friend con in the summertime,
and I
brought it. No, we didn't play it because I couldn't remember how to play it, and so I wasn't about to, like, push it on anybody.
This is what I mean, because I wasn't, like, in my mind, I wasn't a huge fan. And then just the other day, we had a friend come over, and that's when we thought, hey, we should try that out again now that we have 3 people. And we played it, and I really like it. It was where I finally understood everything. It made a lot more sense this time. Like, all the symbols were coming together, and we all got to play and take our time, and I thought it was really fun then. So that's why now I'm like, I'm excited to, like, get this game out again.
I completely agree with you. I think I'm going to try to walk through how the game is played, and then let's try to figure out, like, why we ended up liking it so much more now.
I'll figure that out.
We'll see if we can figure it out. So, you know, like the description said, join a tournament to become a Tidal Blade. This game is, I think theme goes a long way for this game. Mm-hmm. You are people trying to join the, like, elite guardian group of this sort of, like, I don't know, seaside city. You know, they live in, like, up on a couple little islands inside of a coral reef. You know, it's very, like, Moana looking. You know, it's like seaside, Polynesian, like that kind of stuff. But you are, over the course of the game, trying to complete challenges to both earn points, increase your traits, and then essentially, like, gear up to be able to go fight monsters, which is another way to score points. Mm-hmm. The way the gameplay works is you have a standee or a mini in the deluxe edition of your person, and you have a couple of action tokens. So what you'll do on your turn is you'll go to a worker placement spot, essentially, and your token is then going to take up that space. Now, there are a couple spaces on the board where multiple people can go, but most of the time, your token's going to take up a space, and the space says what you get on it. And you're typically gaining resources. These are fruits and shells, or you're gaining certain cards like stunt cards and that kind of stuff. But you're going there, you're gaining something, and then the board is broken up into multiple islands. 4 different islands, 5 if you count where you can fight the monsters, I believe. And each of these islands has a different, like, benefit for going there. So you first go to the worker placement spot, you get that. Then you do the island bonus, which is if you're at the center, you can draw challenge cards, which are essentially like...
They're challenges. It's like...
challenges in the tournament that you're going to try to complete.
Yeah, it's like a little mini tournament to be like, ooh, you're really good at, running or whatever the scenario. And you kind of can gain benefits from those little challenges.
Yeah, and then the other boards there's one where you can pull stunt cards. Stunt cards are like essentially a special card you can play on your turn. You can play 1 per turn. There's another one where this boat is moving around this marina and it gains you resources. And there's another one where there's a market. You spend fruit to buy other kinds of resources or bonuses or abilities or... whatever, and then kind of outside at the edge of the board is this area where you can fight monsters. Ooh. But once you've done your action and then the island bonus, if you're in a place, one of the 3 spots to do challenges as a part of the tournament, because 3 of the boards are places where challenges happen, and you have a challenge card that matches that location, you can try to do a challenge. And they'll have symbols on them, and you have to roll dice to match those symbols. It's not just like you have dice. So dice are actually one of the resources you're trying to pick up over the course of the game. And then there's a whole upgrade system of the dice. So you start with novice dice that have one of every symbol on them, but then you can upgrade it through various actions in the game in multiple directions. You can either lean towards 2 of the symbols or the other 2 of the symbols.
Yeah, and then they get even more specific where if you upgrade those dice, it's going to be, one of those symbols more. And then so you have to kind of be thoughtful with the way you upgrade because you could get stuck with dice and then you can't match a symbol. Right.
So certain, like the novice dice isn't very good, but you can do any challenge with it. And then you get more and more and more specific with the dice, but they become more powerful. So they're good at certain challenges. Essentially, they're good at rolling you certain symbols. So when you do a challenge, it's a push your luck sort of thing. You can roll your dice as long as you want, but you have to roll a danger die with your dice pool. And if you roll any X's on that, that's like damage. You have to block with shells on this shell shield that you have. But shells are another resource you can run out of. So at some point in time, you either stop or you've run out of shells and the X's actually do damage to you, which means you lose dice.
Yeah, which is not good.
So normally dice you use for challenges just get spent. But if you get damaged, you lose it completely, and you essentially have to go through the whole action sequence of getting dice again and all that kind of stuff. But then if you manage to match the symbols on the challenge, you complete it. All right, you're going to tuck it under your board. You're going to get some points at the end of the game. Every symbol you matched is going to increase different traits on your player board. And the traits are tracked with these 4 dials. So there's 4 different symbols in the game. Each of them have to do with a different trait. The dials, they count up. And the higher your dials are things like when you play a stunt card, how effective it is. How many dice can you roll during a challenge?
That one's tricky.
What are some of the other ones?
There's character cards that you can pick up, which are special to your character.
Yep.
And help out. And
there's another one. I don't remember what it is. But there's another. So you have these traits that sort of help you throughout the game. So doing challenges, which kind of makes sense. Doing challenges earns you points, but it also makes you better at that kind of stuff. So the kinds of symbols on the challenge are the kind of traits you're going to increase as long as you rolled that on the dice. So you do this over multiple rounds. You only have so many actions each round. There's these like tokens. And over the course of the game, the danger die switches out to a more stressful or like one that has more bad symbols on it, and then more bad symbols on it again. Now there's also monsters. Fighting a monster works a lot like doing a challenge, except you will lose all of the dice that you fight the monster with.
Like, not ones that you just
They don't get spent.
lose.
They're gonna get bought. Every every symbol you match on the monster is going to earn you a point at the end of the game.
Yes.
Also, if the monster, if between all the players, if they've matched all the symbols on the monster, it gets killed, and then there's a reward that goes out to everybody who did damage to it. But monsters can invade at the end of the round, and anybody who hasn't done damage to it is going to have some negative effect. And I think thematically it is the real Tidal Blades, the people you're trying to become in the tournament. This is like tryouts.
Yeah.
They actually defeat the monster and send it away. But because you like weren't participating in defending, you like get like shame, and then you like lose something.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. So you're trying to do damage to monsters to score points. You're trying to complete challenges to get stronger. Certain challenges make you better at fighting certain monsters. You'll get bonus dice. And it's sort of this thing where you build up your dice pool to be able to complete some challenges to increase your traits and help you upgrade your dice. That's the other one. It's how many dice you get to upgrade at the end of the round.
Oh, yeah.
Is the other trait. And you're sort of like, so you can do harder challenges, or you have really great dice. You can roll a lot of dice now. You're pretty strong. You go fight a monster. But the monsters are kind of always there, and if people aren't fighting them the whole time, then they're doing negative things. It's sort of this like, I don't know. It's like an event, this game.
Yeah.
It's big. It's bombastic. It's, you're doing all kinds of, crazy things. I remember like one of the challenges I did to get a lot of points was like doing a backflip in a jet ski, and it was like called Show Off or something like that. You could only do it like down in the water park area. It was like cool.
It is really hard because you are, like you said, you're trying to build up on dice so you can fight monsters, but then you lose all your dice when you do that. So you have to be like, well, do I want to do it now? Because then I can't do a challenge right away. And then, so it is a fine line, but it's just a big tournament. And there's a like arena that you roll your dice in and stuff, which is really fun. But it was really cool this time.
It has a lot of moving pieces in the way that like, not like brain burnery, but in that you're like never sure if you're doing the right thing. Should I be trying to get more dice? Should I be trying to upgrade my dice? And when I do, which direction should I go? I need to be getting more challenge cards, but the place you go to get challenges is a place you can't do challenges. And in the early rounds of the game, you have 2 actions. So it would be really nice if you could do a challenge on each of those actions, because doing a challenge, even if you fail it, makes you stronger. It increases your traits. How you get more powerful over the course of the game is doing challenges. And if you go to the place to get challenge cards, that's a whole turn that you didn't do a challenge and didn't get stronger. But you have to go do that sometimes.
That is true. And I don't know if you said, so after like 2 rounds, on the 3rd one, you gain a few more little discs to do more actions. And so you do gain more. But it's still very like, well, you only have 3 this turn. You only have 2. And so every turn, every action is very like, I don't want to waste. I think one time I did like 2 by accident in the wrong order, and I essentially wasted them. And it was like, this is so stupid. I just wrecked the whole game. Like I was just panicking. But it is a lot of pieces. It's a lot of symbols. It's a lot of actions and stuff everywhere and dials and I think that's why when we played the first time it was like a lot. And so the first time I was like, I don't quite understand what this symbol means and why it corresponds to this. And so like the game was like almost too, it's not thinky, it's not hard, but there was so much, it was just overwhelming the first time.
I think a lot of moving pieces is a good way to describe it. How many dice do you get to roll against a challenge? There was so many times that it's like, because you don't have a huge dice pool. And you're like, I'm doing a challenge that requires me to match 3 faces. I have 3 dice. Perfect. I'm going to roll 3 dice. But, and you forget, actually my focus, which is this trait that allows you to roll more dice, is only at 2. I can only be rolling 2 dice.
Yeah.
There is a mechanism where you pay fruit to roll more. But we were a lot of times retroactively having to be like, oh, whoops, I rolled 3 dice, and here's, at least I had the fruit to spend.
Yeah, and like when you go to fight a monster, you get like is it a white dice? kind of like an extra, like as if before the monster they like handed you a weapon, right? Like, here, let's help you out.
Well, it all depends on what challenges you've done.
Yeah.
So the challenges are divided into 3 categories for the 3
Yes, that's
islands where
right.
you can do them. Completing challenges you stack onto your player board. The more then the monsters have the challenge symbols on them, and you look at how many challenges you've done that match it,
Yes.
and that's the level of bonus dice you'll get to fight it. So you might get no dice, or a white dice, like you said,
So
or a higher level dice.
every time I fought monsters, I forgot to even grab a bonus dice until like it would be my 4th like roll, and I'm like, oh wait, shouldn't I have? And so there is a lot of things that if you don't bring it up, no one's gonna notice that you didn't do it correct. It's not like a very obvious like, oh, you do this and you do this, because every person's board is different and you have different options. So it's just a lot at first.
I think one of the things that makes it tough to learn at first, like you're saying, is it's not like other games. You know, it's a dice rolling push your luck game, but not like a Yahtzee.
Yeah.
You can roll forever as long as you have enough defense to defend against, or if you rolled blanks on the danger die, I guess. But the number of dice you can roll is dependent upon traits, and but you have to get those dice, and it's a little bit kind of like worker placement. But when you go to do an action, you do the action, then you do the island bonus, then you can do a challenge, and it's
it's just a lot stacked on. And I just remember, for me, it always takes me, we even talked about this the other day, it takes me a couple of plays to like figure out a game. I'm someone who has to like do it and play it and see it multiple times. And this one, it would be like spirit is this symbol, and spirit means, how many dice are, and in my head I was like, I cannot connect these 2 dots for whatever reason. And every time I saw the spirit symbol, I was like, I don't know what that means, and I'm never gonna know what that means. And I like gave up at first, and it totally made sense this time. But it did the first time we played it for, the first 10 minutes, we still sat there going, does anybody else see this symbol? Does anybody see the symbol around the board?
Again, this is a complicated game. And I made the mistake of, let me just read the rules quick, and then we'll play it. And I was trying to teach it, and I was going, I don't know how to play this game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to your question right now. And so this time around, I was like,
get it though.
Yeah, I'm going to read the rules so I can answer people's questions.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. So this game doesn't have very many plays. It's on our shelf. I would vote that it would continue to stay on our shelf, even though it probably won't get a lot more plays. But because it's an event. And the thing is thematically, it's a tournament. It's an event. It's simulating like this big tournament. And when you play it, it feels like that because, there's so much going on. I'm going to go here and do this challenge, and it's going to increase my traits. When you increase I think it was your spirit, like you were saying, when you increase your spirit, you get to get player cards, like player power cards of this like small deck. You draw 2 and you have to pick one.
I think that one's something else, but yeah.
Every time that happened was like the hardest decision ever for me because those cards were super good. Yeah, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to have this power now.
You have like a stack of your character cards. Like you were saying that you pick up 2 when you can upgrade them, pick up 2 and keep one. And I think I only ended the game with 2 or 3 total. But you have like a stack, which means every time you play the game, depending on your character, there's a chance of getting like totally different cards you haven't even seen for like games and games and games, which I liked. I like that you didn't have to have 15 cards laid out in front of you at the end, and you're like memorizing all of these special traits.
No, you have like 2.
2, maybe 3 max.
Yeah.
Which I think you can only get a few. But I like that because I don't like when games, on top of everything else, I'm then having to read all the text on like 15 cards. So I did like that. Also, if I play the same character again, it could be totally different. And then the next time and the next time. It's not like, oh, I know if I get this one card, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I was going to say about it being a tournament, right? So, like, there's so much going on, there's so much happening, it does kind of like feel like an event. Now, it plays, what did it say, 1 to four
1 to
players?
4, 5 if you have the expansion.
I think it needs 3 at least.
Minimum 3, I say. Like I'm never gonna want to get this out just the 2 of us. We have lots of other games that play better at 2-player.
Yeah, I would never need to play. I would have no desire to play this at 2.
Yeah, that's a huge no for me for 2.
3?
3
Good.
was fun.
4?
I think 4 would be great also.
Good. 5. Now, 5, you need the Angler's Cove expansion that comes with another player character, which you can throw into the base game and just play him whatever. Another board and set of cards and stuff. But it also comes with another island board. And I think that's because at 5 players, you need another set of action spaces.
Yeah, it'd be too tight otherwise.
So I wonder how we haven't played with the expansion. I wonder how that action board works in when you have 4 and 5 players. We were going to play 3, and I was like, we don't need a whole nother board.
No, I don't think it would be fun with 3 because there would be almost too many options then. You're never tight on going, oh my gosh, please don't go there. Or, someone's taking all the shells or whatever.
It would be a very long game to play this at 5, but I think it'd be fun. I think it would be as long as everybody was like, okay, this is all we're doing tonight. We're going to play this game. It's a big event. Let's have fun.
Well, other than a tournament or fighting a monster, which that part's exciting to watch if someone else does it because they're rolling the dice and you're like, come on, or you're hoping they don't get it or whatever and you're watching. Other than that, the turns go very quick. And while someone else is going, it's very easy for you to kind of look at your board and just think up what you're going to do next. But it's not long. You're not sitting there for 10 minutes or anything.
That's true. Yeah.
So I do like that a lot too. And then when someone is fighting a monster, it's everybody on the edge of their seat yelling essentially while they roll dice. So that's fun too.
Now, okay, rolling dice, it being exciting, a big event, that kind of stuff. Do you need to seek out the deluxe edition of this game? Because I believe there is a version of this game that comes in a normal Ticket to Ride size box, not this giant coffin size box. So the extras.
What am I missing? Yeah.
As far as I know from the Kickstarter extras, there's standees in the base game, and then there's minis. And there's minis for the players. There's minis for the boat thing that goes around and the judge.
Which that's not a big deal as a standee. I'm still on board.
There's little busts for your player thing on the challenge track. And we didn't talk about that, but it's not necessarily important for how the game works.
Yeah.
Or the heroic track, or I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, but so you have minis instead of standees.
Okay.
You have a fancy start player token. And then your action tokens, instead of being cardboard, are those plastic tokens.
For the little disc things? I do like those. I mean, it's not going to make or break the game for me, but I do like those. And
then there is a, what's it called? Where you roll dice into it.
What the
Why
heck?
am I just thinking of dice bowl? That's not the right term.
It's whatever it's called.
It looks like a little arena, though.
It does. It looks like it has little stands and rocks, and it's the field down there kind of thing that someone would fight on. I do like that, but if someone was well, you can have this or you can't play, I'm fine with whatever still.
I think
it's
this
fun,
game
though.
would be totally fine, just as fun. I don't think the components of the deluxe edition make or break this game. You still get all the same art. You get that super colorful, cool, bluish.
Do you still get the little resources the same?
The resources are cardboard, so you don't get the squishy fruits and the plastic shells.
I'm out.
That's the other thing.
I like the oranges. They're like little rubber, like squishy rubber.
Yeah, they are. But I don't think that makes or breaks it.
I don't think it makes or breaks it. I do like having the upgraded pieces just because, like you said, it's it's a challenge, it's a tournament, and it's fun to, you're kind of going all out.
Yeah.
But I think the game would still be really fun. The other way, you just need at least 3 people. I can't say that enough because I remember when we played 2 players, even with the dummy player, and I don't even think we finished. It didn't work with the way it played.
It's just the fun of the challenges and rolling the dice into the thing, and I want there to be more people around.
Yeah, you need that like yelling at each other and getting excited for each other, and that there's other games for 2 players.
Well, I have to say, I'm really happy that we sort of on a whim said, you know what, let's play that game again. And in my opinion, it turned out great.
Yeah.
And now we're going to play it some more.
Yeah, now I don't have to look at it and be like, man, why do we have this? Now I know why we have it. So
if you get a chance, I recommend trying Tidal Blades. It's certainly staying on our shelf. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.
bye.